Let's bring in Trysta Krick. Let's get this view fixed. TK, what's happening?
Hey, what's good?
Where are we at home in
We're
Portland
at
and not
home.
at the
We're at home.
studio?
No, I've got some stuff that I need to handle at home today with and then
Okay.
I came down with a little baby migraine, so I
Ooh,
took a little chill pill, and now we're
okay.
good.
Okay. I'm with you. I had a headache yesterday for like 9.5 hours. It was brutal. I took some medicine and it laughed at me.
What'd you take?
Excedrin. It's the only thing that works for me,
Yeah.
except weed. Edibles help, but I couldn't do that at 12:15 yesterday.
Well, I mean, you could have, but there would have
I
been
mean, I could have. It would have made
implications.
for an interesting show, though.
Yeah,
It definitely would have made for an
they would have
interesting
gone
show.
off the rails.
That's one way of putting it. That's one way. It could have gone a lot of different directions. Did you see that BJ Armstrong's our new assistant general manager?
No,
Yep.
no, nope, I did not see
Scott
that.
Scott Perry, who and Jesse, you got this one. Uh Him and Scott Perry and BJ Armstrong did a podcast together. Of course,
That's what
BJ.
yeah. That's what I remember. That's the BJ Armstrong I was thinking of. Yeah.
Well, BJ was also an agent too for I think he did some work for Wasserman Media Group. So he's out there with connections. You're making faces. I don't think you're big on this. What's wrong? What's wrong with BJ?
I don't know that anything is
Oh, you
wrong.
got the high voice. Yeah, it's all bad when the high voice hits.
I don't know that there's anything wrong with BJ Armstrong, but I just wouldn't have made that decision myself. Me, I think he's been out of the game a while.
Mm.
He's been not in the game at all, at all. So there's other people who I think are more impressive. There's other people who, if you scan the league and you have connections, and Scott Perry has connections, so I don't
Mhm.
understand. Maybe Sacramento is just a really hard place to get people in. Maybe the maybe you're looking at the, I don't want to say bottom of the barrel. I don't want to say that, but maybe you're
Yes.
looking maybe you're looking at like not the cream of the crop that are raring to go.
Mhm.
You should have just hired, I don't know. Like I feel like if this would have happened a year earlier, we would have just had Jordy Fernandez in as coach, and
Mm.
he would have been there, and maybe everything would have been different. I don't know. I'm not sure.
It'd be interesting. It's an interesting thought too, because Jordy was like Mike's guy. So
Yep.
like, how would have all that have kind of transpired last year? And yeah, that would have been interesting for sure. We got Bobby back though. Bobby Jackson is here. He's joining Doug Christie's staff, as is Mike Woodson, which I'm sure you saw earlier this week, as Doug is trying to
Mhm.
get a veteran around him.
I mean, okay. It's like a lot of retreads. Fine. Like and like a lot of guys with connections to Sacramento, which is fine. It's a very local, it's like a very small market set of actions. And I want more for Sacramento than small market actions.
You
That's
want
all.
big market actions.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I think I want teams to do their best. I want everyone to have the same mentality that Minnesota now has, Detroit now has, that OKC sort of created. I think
Hmm.
that's the model, is you figure out how to find the smartest people and you put them together, and you find a way to build a roster in a way that's sustainable, with a marquee star, with cap space, with plenty of guys on the back end of the bench that can help if you lose guys to free agency or trades. It's a roster that makes sense. You figure out ways to go and pick up guys on the margins, like, I don't think Fred VanVleet is necessarily the margins because he's making like $45 million a year. But guys
Hmm.
like Tim Hardaway in Phoenix, or in Detroit for the Pistons, and Malik Beasley, and those are all guys that were not highly coveted. Find a way to build things sustainably. And I
Well,
just
that's
don't
what Scott
know.
Perry was talking about last week. He was
Yeah.
talking about trying to build a sustainable winner here, not something that's good for a one-off or whatever, but something that is sustainable for the long-term future with this organization.
That sounds like, and that's great. I love hearing that. That's step one. I think that we all are on the same page with that. Then that we need to make some changes to the roster then too.
Mhm.
A
Oh,
lot of
yeah,
them. Yeah, a
absolutely.
lot of them. Like probably almost any. I think probably Keegan's the only player that you, unless you can get something really good for him, probably keep him just because he's so young. And if you're gonna
Is
rebuild
that
or
the sole reason?
yeah, yeah, if you're gonna rebuild, you want to have everybody kind of on the same timeline.
Yeah,
So
I
you're
guess
not
so.
going to build with veterans, right?
No,
Like
I got you.
you got to build with a bunch of young guns that are it's hard to get like a guy his size that can shoot threes, who can play defense. That's one of those positions that's there's probably not that many guys that are in this draft that are as good as Keegan Murray. And I'm not like so high on him. I just think that position is hard to fill. So if you're gonna get a bunch of young guys, then he can be a piece of that puzzle. I don't think he's gonna be super expensive. And then guys that are outside that timeline window and are expensive have to go. And then you build, and then you add the veterans as like connective tissue. And then
Mhm.
maybe you have a team that can be can go 7 games with the
There we
Warriors.
go. Get back to where we were 2 years ago, losing to the Warriors
I
in
could go
7.
7
What a
games with the
what a great
Warriors.
feeling that was. So good. Are you sitting on the edge of your bed because you just like you don't look even remotely comfortable?
I mean, I got my phone in my hand. That's
Yeah,
all. I
but
just
you
like this
okay.
angle. I just like
Oh,
it better than having a laptop or whatever. It's just I think it just
okay.
looks better. So no,
Okay.
I'm super comfortable. I got my elbow on my knee, and I got the dog, the new puppy.
Can we get a shot of the new puppy? So we've got oh, there's the new puppy. Oh yeah. That is so sweet.
Doesn't leave my side.
Trista the dog mom. I love that. What'd you say it was like 8 he's just barely 8 weeks old?
He's 3 months, 4 months.
Okay.
Completely.
Oh,
I saw him online. Him and his little sister, or his older, whatever, the same litter, his bigger sister. And I went to go see the girl because I wanted to get a dog that looks exactly like my dog Emma. And
mhm.
I really was just wanting to clone Emma without the 50,000 or $75,000 that it takes to do that. So I go to meet her, and we go to the park, and they bring him, the girl, and the mom, the older palm, and I bring Emma, and we sit down and we're hanging out in the grass, and he just literally walks up to me and lays inside my sweater, puts both paws on my pants, and just chills. He just like chose me. And the little girl's
That's
running,
awesome.
ripping and running around. She's got her tongue out. She's jumping. And I'm like, oh man, this girl is gonna be a wild, wild child. And he's just doing this that he's doing now, just nothing, just watching, observing everything, and being like, y'all crazy, these
That's
bitches
awesome.
crazy. So I went home and I sent my mom the photos of it, and she's like, which one is this? Because I'm not like a big boy dog fan. I like girl
Mhm,
dogs better.
mhm.
And my mom's like, which one's this? And I was like, it's the boy dog. And she's like, he seems really chill. I was like, he is chill. And he had never left his mom's side. He's just been in a little playpen with his mom and his sister. And so he came, I adopted him on Saturday night. Took a little convincing because my mom was like, you can't just bring a new dog in the house without me saying so. So massage that for a minute. And then, which was totally fair. And he comes home with me, and he's just like attached at the hip, slept on my chest all night, sleeps, now on my side. I took him to work yesterday, to the office. He laid in my lap the entire, like 8 hours the entire day.
That's
So
terrific.
yeah, it's the opposite of Emma, who's like a little wild kid.
A little wild. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a little wild.
but it's been
What
great.
did what did the new puppy think about Aaron Gordon and the Nuggets win last night?
Oh, he was very excited. He was chewing on his little rope.
He was into it. Yeah.
The balls, I was texting you, the balls of a 3-point shot
Bruh.
down one. And this Russ tour that we're
Come
experiencing
on, TK. Give it to me, TK.
is just
Yes.
chef's kiss. The fact that you had your head coach in a cold war with the GM over his decisions, his rotations, and mostly Russ. And he was like, I don't want to play Russ. I want to play Julian Strother. And it's like, okay, fine, whatever. He gets fired. And then David Adelman, new interim head coach, comes in. And he's like, I think we have to play Russ. And for Russ to continue to give us these moments, these really crucial parts of the game where he puts the team on his back and there's game winning, game saving plays, he, for whatever reason, doesn't box out and then he ends up getting the rebound. And instead of doing the Brody thing that we know he's like prone to do, which is just use his athleticism into traffic, go up, and then have to shoot freaking free throws,
Mm-hmm.
no, kicks out to AG. AG has all the time in the world. Well, as much as 5 seconds is going to get you. Open look, splash. Which Brody was there to get the putback too. I know he was
Mm-hmm.
thinking about that also. I just love to see it. There's been multiple occasions now where you're like, if the Nuggets didn't have Russ, they would have
Yep.
already been eliminated.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm openly rooting for the Denver Nuggets now.
You kind of have to be. Cause
Yeah, I'm a
man,
Russell Westbrook guy. I'm rooting for the Nuggets.
and for him to go through LA, a team that discarded him for Chris Dunn, who was unplayable, whoop, down the stretch. We'll just have to roll with it. Unplayable down the stretch. My ring light died.
I saw that.
We'll do this. See if that works.
See, this is why you got to watch on you. Oh, look at that. It's right back.
We put the charge on. Anyway, unplayable down the stretch, Chris Dunn, because he can't score a lick. He's a great defender, but cannot score.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the trade. It was potato chips and Chris Dunn for Russell Westbrook. Okay. So for him to take that team down and
Oh,
be
yeah.
a part of that is just poetic, and have that like dunk where he hung on the rim and all that. And then to face his first team in OKC, this is just incredible. I love
Mm-hmm.
it.
I
The only
love
thing
what.
that would be better is if the Lakers hadn't been eliminated.
Oh, and he got to eliminate the Lakers
And he got to eliminate the Lakers as well, like the last step of it.
in LA.
In LA. Yeah.
Eliminate the Lakers in LA. Yeah, that would have been terrific. I love. Yeah,
Nipsey, like while Nipsey Hussle music is like on the.
see, now we're writing a movie at this point. Now we're writing a
Ryan
movie. Now
Coogler's already starting on it.
he's probably already got this together. He's going to win awards for this one.
The movie's name is Brody.
There we go. I'm with it. Fruitville Station, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Sinners, Brody.
Brody.
There it is.
Yeah.
Are you so this has been I have not been in, I guess, on the Thunder this year.
No, me neither.
I haven't necessarily been in on the Nuggets either, but
Me neither.
Oklahoma City losing wasn't a shock to me.
No, I mean you've got is a very young team. And this is a Nuggets team that won the whole thing and ran through the league to do it. So they've got that inside of them. That's something you don't forget. That resiliency,
Championship equity.
that championship DNA equity that you build. And I've said this, listen, OKC could be the best team in the West.
Mm-hmm.
I think back to that Dallas Mavericks series where they lose in 6 and they had so many chances to beat Dallas, and they're leaving PJ Washington open and he's hitting shots, and their half court offense can be a bit clunky. Their 3-point shooting sometimes in a half court setting isn't great. They're an awesome transition team. They're a team that thrives on their defense. But at the end of the day, what's this going to look like in the playoffs? And the playoffs are almost a different sport. And so when you've got a team that you need to go through, like the Nuggets, which have been pretty much counted out, they fire their head coach with 3 games left in the season. And the way that they beat LA was showing that resiliency. They're starting to find their momentum. Role players are starting to step up, like Christian Brown.
Mm-hmm.
Jamal Murray is giving us those bubble moments. And you're
Mm,
like,
mm,
okay, see, show me what you got, little mama. Then you get Chet Holmgren missing 2 crucial free throws. Listen, you were up 20. I turned the ish off and watched The Voice with Mama
yeah.
Crick until I'm
No,
like,
all
oh,
right.
there's a development coming. I gotta switch this back on.
Wait, did you
And
turn the other game off? Because the
I had
Celtics were up 22.
I did. I did. I had it on the little phone until I tuned
That's
in right at
awesome.
like, oh, this is a game. It's a
That's
game.
awesome.
So to see that, you're like, okay, you crumbled. You guys melted in the sun. And
Mm,
Chet Holmgren, you melted in the sun. So and Mark Dagno, you melted in the sun. You cannot be
yeah.
fouling up 3 when Jokic is not in the game and now they can sub him in.
That doesn't even make sense. Like, I get that feels like some analytics nerd told him, "Hey, try this. This is gonna go great." And part of that is like, yo, your guys need to hit your free throws if you're gonna do that. Like, you literally have to be perfect at the free throw line if you're gonna implement that strategy. And
Are we
God,
gonna get
it
are
all
we
went
gonna get
wrong.
a goal or a Denver Minnesota Western Conference Finals, a repeat of last year's match? Because that would be incredible.
Last year was Dallas and Minnesota, wasn't it?
No, but not for the Western Conference Finals,
Oh,
but
oh.
they played each other's in the semis.
I've
Remember that went
actually, yeah,
7
yeah.
and Denver was up 20 in game 7 on Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota came back and they
I,
took down Denver.
I've kind of changed my opinion too on Minnesota. I didn't like the Timberwolves. And I feel like they've been like fake all year. And for
Yeah.
some reason, I've just changed my mind. I was
They
like,
don't
no, I actually really buy Anthony Edwards. I
they
think
don't look fake at all right now.
nah, they don't. They don't. But it's always, I feel like we're in this constant state of waiting for Minnesota to like turn into something. And last year was the big moment. And it was like, all right, do it again. Like, let me just see it one more time so I know I'm not getting fooled.
So I'm not getting Sacramento Kings.
That probably wasn't necessary, but I guess I get why you had to make the reference, but
Well,
felt a
because
little.
Minnesota was a team that had been down in the dumps for a long time too. They're a team that's like synonymous with losing. They're a team that has had heartbreak. They're a team that people didn't really think was a real squad. Kind of like what Memphis has been as well, where it's
Yeah,
like
the
I'm in
longest playoff drought till Jimmy Butler came along and saved their sorry asses
right.
for one appearance in the playoffs, and then they
Correct.
missed it like 2 more years.
Exactly. So that's kind of what I was thinking. But what you see in all of these cases, Indiana, New York, Denver,
Mhm.
Minnesota, what do they all have in common? They had periods of time over the regular season where we thought that they were totally fake. Indiana had a really rough stretch where Tyrese Halliburton didn't look like himself.
Yeah, they had a
And it
rough
was like,
start.
is Indiana even going to make the playoffs?
Yeah.
A team that was a hot item last year, but we're not sure about their sustainability. New York, same thing. New York hadn't beaten any of the top seeds. I think they were like less than 50% against the top seeds. Jalen Brunson's injured at the end of the year. They're losing to the Wizards. They can't
Mm.
even beat the Charlotte Bobcats. And we're wondering, what is this team? You've got obviously Golden State, but I think it's different because they traded for Jimmy, so it's a totally different complexion of the team. Then you've got Minnesota, Julius Randle's not vibing. He's not fitting in. Was he just a salary filler? Was he just
Mhm.
a way to get money off the books? There's no way he was there for any real reason. Dante DiVincenzo's injured. Does he even want to be there? Is he upset that he got moved from the Villanova boys? Mike Conley's old as hell. Are we going to see any Rob Dillingham? Like Ant Edwards, is he actually the guy or did he just have a moment, right? Denver, the GM is allowing this roster to implode, and the pieces
Coach
that were so
hates him for it.
coach hates them. There's an open revolt. Jokic and Jamal Murray, is he ever going to be healthy again? We were out on all these teams.
Yep.
What that tells you is that game 47 of the regular season means absolutely nothing at all. What, and then we saw, and on the flip side we saw Cleveland. Oh my god, they're just like so ultimately powerful, they're unbeatable, their roster up and down has just been so incredible with Kenny Atkinson coming in and transforming them. Boston, like they're gonna of course repeat, go back to back. And what they have in common, all of them, those two teams really mostly, is now they have injuries. Now you got Jalen Brown dinged. You got Drew Holiday dinged. You got Tatum doing, I call it the Boris Kojo, because he's just looking pretty out there, taking step
Oh,
back
man.
threes, right? Like just taking his girl to the prom for love and basketball, just not out here hooping. You've got Darius Garland with an injury. We got Evan Mobley with an injury. It's just now the Donovan Mitchell Utah Jazz of the Midwest.
Mhm.
So these two teams, maybe they'll bounce back, but they have cracks that make them beatable. Maybe they won't be beaten, but they are beatable.
Are you out on Cleveland? Do you buy let me rephrase that. Do you buy Cleveland?
Do I buy them? I It's buy sell hold. I think I hold on
Mm,
Cleveland. I
okay.
think it's like I need to see it. We saw last year them in a rock fight with the Orlando Magic. We've seen
Mhm,
them lose to the New York Knicks. Like we've seen this Cleveland team and iterations of it feel like they were there and then they were not there.
mhm,
So now that there's guys that are legitimately not going to play, like Darius Garland probably won't play for game 2, Evan Mobley probably won't play for game 2. They've got another, isn't there another dislocated thumb as
mhm.
well? So if it's just Ty Jerome and Donovan Mitchell and Jared Allen, then no, I don't buy that.
Hi, Jerome. You know what the
Oh no,
tough
it's
part is?
DeAndre Hunter with a dislocated thumb. So it's DeAndre Hunter, dislocated thumb, Darius Garland, forget what's happening with him, this shoulder issue, and then Evan Mobley really badly sprained ankle. 3 of your key players are maybe not going to play in game 2 when you just lost game 1 pretty convincingly. I don't
Mhm,
know. I think that's, and listen, Gamebridge Fieldhouse is no cakewalk to go out
mhm.
there and get those wins. So if you're down 3-1 and Indiana is looking at you with all kinds of injuries, then you're probably going to go home.
The tough part is Indiana, 1, for some reason, is contractually obligated to play teams who have been decimated by injuries. 2,
Yeah, like New York last year.
they're really good. Like, I think the Pacers are good. Like, if we were, if we were doing the buy Cleveland. Now, I buy Cleveland. Maybe this incarnation of them is a little roughed up, but I'm really buying Indiana right now, and I think they are. I didn't buy them last year. To be fair, everything that they did last year, it's like whatever, like eye roll inducing, like it's cute.
You
They're
thought
gonna
they were
get
the Phoenix Suns of the East, where it's like, oh, you've just gone through really decimated rosters. What do we have really
essentially,
seen? Yeah.
yeah, essentially. I don't think that's what they are this year. I think they're a significantly better, more rounded basketball team. So them beating Cleveland, a team that I have liked, unlike Oklahoma City, a team that I have liked all year, I wouldn't be surprised at all if the Pacers got them at
The
all.
thing the thing that I feel people overlook about the Pacers are just how sneaky deep they are. I mean, you've got so many pause. You got so many guys that are on this team that casual fans don't really know, and
Mm,
they can put up 20 on any given night. I am such a huge Andrew Nemhard fan.
Mm-hmm.
He's ridiculous. I'm a big Aaron Nesmith fan who I think is kind of an unsung hero of this team. He's a starter, but he doesn't really feel like a starter, and he's homegrown. I think they actually got him in the Malcolm Brogdon trade.
Mm-hmm.
So he played for the Celtics at one point. Could you imagine Nesmith on the Celtics right now? You've got Obi Toppin, who's there off the bench. You've got Ben Mathurin there on it, like sometimes starting, sometimes not. You got Ben Shepherd there, who I think I barely even know. So I know that casual fans don't know. And then I haven't even mentioned the Miles Turners of the world, the
You
Tyrese
haven't even
Halliburtons of
mentioned my favorite guy, and he's my favorite guy because he beats everybody's ass. TJ McConnell.
and TJ McConnell is just one of those guys who's peskily going to give you 14, and like
TJ
8 of
McConnell.
those points are in the fourth quarter.
Everybody watching this has uttered the phrase TJ McConnell's whooping De'Aaron Fox's ass again. Like
Yes.
he just takes it to these point guards. Like, and you can't convince me he's not the fastest guy on the floor either.
Yeah, and he'll pick your pocket
Every
and
yes.
every time. And they're just very Rick Carlisle tough,
Mm,
where they seem like it's free flowing offense up and down. And then it's like, oh, well, now they've turned Gary Trent Jr. over and they've scored 8 points in 20 seconds. They were down 7 and now they're up 1 and now you're going home.
mm, mm, mm,
So yeah,
mm,
I buy the Pacers too. I was talking to Chilltown Hoops. I don't know if you know him. He's a big
mm.
creator. Has a podcast. Definitely follow him. I'm gonna be on he and this other guy, Tony, Sports Fluent, on their podcast tonight. But he he's like one of those old heads who's very into the history of the game. And he thought Cleveland was just going to be too deep for Indiana. Pause. And I was like, I don't know. It feels like the Pacers go 11 deep as well. Pause.
Man, you're just throwing them out there today. You're about to catch a flagrant 2 after one of
I
these.
know. I know.
Speaking of podcasts, are we good to talk about the other little piece of business you're doing, or are we still trying to?
Yes, let's do it.
Yo, TK got a new podcast. First of all, TK's whole branding right now is fire. Trysta is one of
Thank
the
you.
best people on social media that like I've ever met. And what you have always your whole brand has been built, or not your whole brand, but like your social media thing has been these like great videos and reels that really show off your personality, and they're commenting on, like, if something happens in sports, like you have a video up about it almost immediately. You have started to supplement that stuff with like news, just with like your threads and video captures, and like your IG profile right now is just absolute fire.
Thank you.
You also have a new podcast called Let Her Shoot that you finally hit me to. You were keeping it a secret, I guess, for a couple of episodes, but you hit me to it this past weekend, and it is all things women's sports, and it is a blast to listen to.
I think it's I probably am enjoying it because it's so different, more than even Heat Check right now, because it's
Mhm.
just me and a friend of mine, business partner, who's also an Emmy award winning producer. I asked her to help be another mic on the show. And it's really just like two friends chopping it up about what happened in women's sports. And we also have a woman who just is really, really important in sports media. She produced Full Court Press last year, the documentary series on college women's basketball. They followed Caitlyn Clark. They followed Lauren Betts in UCLA, and she just watched it and listened to it and asked to help produce it. So she believes in it, and I think the thing that I'm most proud of is that we don't put kid gloves on about
Mhm.
women's sports. I'm not worried about the fragility of women in terms of what we talk about. So I'm willing to say like, yo, Sophie Cunningham will throw hands. Like we'll
Mhm.
tell Kiki Iriafin, like, catch this black belt elbow. And so we talk about it in the way that I talk about men's sports. And so I think it's really funny. And I think it's a cat, even if you're a casual fan, it's like we're casual fans. Like I don't know anything really about the NWSL, but Sarah does. She doesn't know a lot
Mhm.
about the WNBA, and I do. So it's kind of like we teach each other and we teach other people, and also update you on the things that are really hard to find. So episode 5 just dropped today. I think it was really funny. We talk about some of the tea between Olivia Miles and Hannah Hidalgo. We
Mhm.
talk about that woman, Katie Max, who went viral on TikTok for marathoning, and then she decided to like be in the Trump administration's pocket and do it at the White House, and it's going crazy right now in on like marathon TikTok. So we talk about that, and obviously WNBA preseason and some NWSL stuff. So I think it's really good. I also think we might be able to get some really big guests. Kiyomi McMiller just hit me literally 5 minutes before I went on to tell me why she went to Penn State. She like really like laid out why she's going to that school and how much more about life than it is basketball, and how she wants to take over this program and do what Flaugier did and do what Caitlin Clark did, and how important Penn State is for business and winning culture.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think this could be really like a very transformative thing for women's sports.
Yeah, I one thing that is always, and I love the way that you phrase that, because one thing that has always drove me crazy in my years around women's sports, and the WNBA was as guilty of this as anybody. I don't think that they are now, but they were, is they always catered to the audience that they had versus trying to attract a new audience. And I
Yep.
think so many people who covered women's sports have always done it the same way. And it's like, we're women and we're ladies and we're going to talk about this a certain way rather than talking to sports fans like other fans talk to other sports fans. And
Yep.
that's the root of what we're talking about here. We're not talking about women, we're talking about sports. The combatants or the athletes, they're women in this case. The game is the same. But for so long, we've tried to change it because we're talking to women and it has to be presented different. And TK has never approached the game like that, which is why it's why I really enjoyed the podcast. Well, I'm a Trysta fan, so I'm gonna love the work that you put out. But the way that you guys presented this and the things that you were talking about were just fantastic.
Thank you. Thank you. It's fun. And yeah, I think also when women's sports commenters come on the scene, and there's a couple of other women's sports podcasts out there right now, most of them are former players.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have former players talking about women's sports and they're connected still to their sport, they're just not going to be honest the same way.
Mm-hmm.
Kelly O'Hara, who's a former Olympian and NWSL player, she's never going to talk about the fact that Kristen Press has 4 ACL tears and surgeries, and her manager had the gall to go online and say that she's a Lamborghini and these other soccer players are like Pintos. And it's like, well, this Lamborghini's been in the shop a lot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
They're not gonna
Mm-hmm.
say that. So I think it's good to have people who love the game and love sports that have nobody's in their pocket, you know.
I think the other thing about having athletes too is former athletes is either they're connected and they're afraid to say something or they're bitter.
Yep.
There are former athletes who are very bitter, and maybe it's bitter because they didn't make the money that these young ladies make now, or maybe they didn't achieve the level of stardom that these young ladies have changed now. But you can tune into a podcast starring a former athlete like, this is just like, I'm an angry about life. This isn't a true assessment of the game. We saw that a lot with Caitlyn. We saw
We
that a
did.
lot the way Caitlyn was covered. It was just a lot of angry former basketball players who weren't necessarily talking about the player, but were frustrated with the level of stardom that this player had achieved and the amount of money she had already earned before ever stepping on a professional court.
Or here's another one that happens. It's like, oh, you don't know who Cynthia Cooper is? Oh, like you don't know who Allison Feaster is? Well, like either let me talk down to you and like break it down like you're a little small child because you don't know ish about the game. Or
Mhm,
I'm just gonna assume you know everything, and if you don't, you don't belong in this club anyway.
mhm.
Which I
Yes,
think is whack.
because Cynthia Cooper was great, but the game has not evolved at all in the last 20 some odd years.
Yeah.
Not even a little bit. So yes, the first player to step on the floor in the WNBA just happens to also be the greatest. That's fine. Did you see Caitlin's return to Iowa this weekend?
Yeah, I watched probably the only minutes that she played, which I think she played 19 minutes.
19 minutes. I think she scored 16 points in 19 minutes.
She's the leader. Vegas has her as the leader for MVP. She's plus 200 to win MVP. The Fever are going to be really freaking good. And I think
Yeah.
there's a reason that she's the leader in the clubhouse. So they were fun. I mean, $600 on average to go and see her in Iowa against a team that's not even a WNBA team, Team Brazil, and you knew it
Just
was
so
going to be belt
national
to
team.
ass, beats them
Yeah,
by a million, posts, shoots from deeper than she hit the record or broke the NCAA scoring record just
yeah.
because. Posted on Twitter, and the girl who she hit the shot on was like, "Damn, at least you could have at least tagged me."
That's funny.
Great stuff. But you
That's
know what
one
I will
thing
say?
that's
Go
yeah.
ahead.
No,
I was
I
just
was
go ahead.
it's our first day doing this together. No, like you were talking about her being the MVP. Like when you strip all of this stuff away, Caitlin's really good. Like when you just stop talking about the other stuff, as a basketball player, Caitlin Clark is really, really good.
The only reason that she turns the ball over as much as she does is because she's so good that she's always trying wild stuff. And she's always trying to thread the needle. She's always trying to make what I think is she's not only really skilled, the reason that I think people are so attracted to her game is she's dazzling. She has this almost this Kobe like showmanship where she's got the presence of mind to say, yeah, this might not work, but if it does work, fans are going to eat this up. These are going to be big time moments for our league. It's not enough to just be really good. You
Mhm.
have to be sensationally fun to watch. And that's what she is. She's got all the skills, but she's also like Tiger Woods, where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna take my iron and I'm gonna flip it around backwards and I'm gonna hit it left-handed under this tree and put it 6 inches from the hole. And you're like, I've never seen that before. This is incredible. So yeah, what I was gonna pivot to really fast is for anybody who just watches the WNBA as a whole, the Mystics are gonna be really fun. They're running a D'Antoni
Really?
offense. Yeah, they're running a D'Antoni style offense. Sydney Johnson is running an 8-second offense. I watched them play who did they play? They played the Fever. Without
Yeah,
Caitlin Clark.
right.
Without
Yeah, the
Caitlin
day
Clark,
before.
yeah, day before. She sat out. She obviously again wanted to put on a show for her fans in Iowa. She was dealing with like a little bit of a calf strain. And they got out to a 15-point lead on the Fever super quick. And that was even without Aaliyah Edwards. So you've got this new offense. The GM that came in, Jamila Weidman, she was
Mhm.
a former lawyer, public advocacy, did a bunch of public advocacy work. Third pick in the WNBA draft, played for the Sparks. So she's got the pedigree. But my friend said that she's the single most impressive person he's ever worked with. And when they
Okay.
worked together at the NBA, just a very like forward facing, like very forward looking innovator, not afraid to try new things, like just very sharp. And you can tell based on how fast they've built this team up, they're like, all right, sell everything, collect picks, get the players
Mhm.
we want in here, Georgia Amore, Sonia Citrone, Kiki Iriafin, add that to Aaliyah Edwards, add that to Brittany Sykes, and now we've got like we are cooking with gas. Don't have any
Mhm.
clue how many games they're going to win, but they are going to be moving. Stephanie Dolson, who's like a million, and
I love
she's like,
Stephanie.
yeah, me too. She's a bigger girl too. She was like, this is a lot for me. This is a lot of 8 seconds to score. I don't know about this. I'll just see y'all on the other side.
Sydney is I mean Stephanie. Stephanie is she's a big girl.
Yeah.
She's going to be significantly smaller by the time the season is over.
Yeah, you can tell. It's like, we don't need you to be on anything else but to just keep running this offense. She's going to probably lose 30 pounds if they keep running
Mhm.
this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, Stephanie's a beast. I did not know who Sydney Johnson was. When
I
they
didn't
hired,
know
I had
anything
no
about him
clue.
either
I had
until I
no clue
was
who that
reading
was.
about him. Yeah, and Jamila, I didn't know anything about her until my friend was like, "Yeah, I worked with her at the league office. She was an SVP of like player development."
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "She just got things done."
Mm-hmm. She
So,
legit
yeah.
sounds like one of Sheila's homies. She was like, "Hey, you want to come GM my basketball team?" That's who
Yeah,
I thought. I'm with it. This covering the W this year is going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited to do that together. That's
me
that's
too.
that's going to be a lot of fun. Um,
Awesome.
Obviously, there's going to be a million storylines to watch, so we're excited.
Yeah,
We
and I
are
think
excited for
too
sure.
the Storm are a fascinating storyline to watch also.
Mm-hmm.
Just what they're doing is like Dominique Malonga gonna come over? Like, what's taking her so long to get there? Is she even gonna be like Wemby? Why did Skylar Diggins say this is the most talented team she's ever been on when she played for the Phoenix Mercury that just was in the finals against the Sky? Like,
Because
is
she
that
hates Phoenix
salty?
Mercury.
Because she hates them. Yeah, she hates them. So there's not only gonna be a lot of tea, but there's gonna be a lot of fun basketball too.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I had one more W thing I was going to throw at you, but it's going to have to wait. It's going to have to wait, TK. We appreciate you as always. Thank you for spending extra time with me, especially since I'm alone today. So that helps sitting here talking basketball. We
Yeah,
appreciate you.
that
Give the
was.
puppy some extra love.
I will. Always fun. Love y'all.